My name is Jeannine Rustad. I'm the Superintendent of Planning at the Tualatin Hills Park and Rec District. I'd like to introduce with me today Nicole Paulson, our new urban planner on the planning team. Very excited about that. We realize that 10 minutes is not enough time to really get into an in-depth discussion on our system development charges, and particularly the administrative procedure guidelines, which we are in the process of updating. So we do have a sign-up sheet if you're interested in a follow-up meeting. There's more to that to come, but we have that in the back. Please stop by and let us know if you're interested. We also have a few copies of the current administrative procedure guidelines on our table. I'm going to say APG just to abbreviate. It's a tongue twister for this early in the morning. And then just as a little refresher on why we have system development charges, or SDCs, and our APGs. The system development charges, I'm looking at a development community. When you build new homes or new commercial development, that puts additional demand on our parks and recreation. So these charges help pay for the new capital, which includes land and the improvements. The administrative procedure guidelines, this is supposed to be the tool on how we implement our SDCs. Much of what I'm going to discuss this morning is already in these APGs, but I recently had a chance to research a question and try and find an answer through them. They're a bit clunky, so we're hoping to make them a little more user-friendly. Hopefully we won't lose power on this. So first, some good news, which you can look at this table and say, what's the good news? I see increases in the SDCs. Well, our APGs require that every year we look at the charges, apply an index to see if there's a needed increase. And this increases can be caused by cost of construction or increases in cost of land prices. So as required, we did the analysis, presented this to our board with a recommendation that we not implement the increase. We recognize that when we adopted the new methodology in 2016 that there was a not insignificant increase at that time, and the board agreed that we would hold them steady. You've heard about affordable housing. That was part of what entered into that conversation. So there's the good news. The more good news is when we're looking at updating the APGs is we want this to be a partnership and make our partnerships going forward work a little more smoothly. So again, why we have these. The APGs are a framework to ensure that parks are delivered in a timely manner and to our standards. We also are looking at fiscal responsibility, and by this, I look at the district as we, like you, are a business, and the system development charges are income, so we're trying to match as close in time as possible the collection of those charges and the expenditure. We don't want to have to borrow against them. We want to improve the efficiency, as I mentioned. These APGs have not been updated since 1999. As I mentioned, they're a bit clunky and cumbersome to follow, so how do we make that easier? I also have already mentioned this is nothing new, but we want to make sure we do have a dialogue. We're trying to improve how we do our outreach, so get your input on how we can improve these. A big key here too is we're looking on how we can better find common ground. And what I mean by that is we're the experts in park development. Our project managers, our maintenance personnel, that's what they live, eat, and breathe. The development community, on the other hand, you're the experts in building the communities. You have project managers that are the experts in constructing the homes, designing those communities. So how do we find that common ground so that we are delivering our parks in a timely manner to our standards and in a fiscally responsible manner? So again, we are looking for your input. This is going to be a theme I will reiterate. I was quite surprised as I undertook this project when I looked at the statute, because how we implement does come a lot from state statute, on what a qualified public improvement was. And you see here the three elements we have to hit. it has to be a condition of approval from the governing body. So in this case, Washington County or the city of Beaverton in our jurisdiction. It has to be on our project list. And then either the project is off-site or required to be built over capacity. This works great when it's a transportation improvement, when it's a road. You might have to build that road bigger than what you need to serve your development, or you might have to build some road off-site. It's not as smooth for parks and trails. So we're talking to our legal counsel, because what we often do is we give 100% credit if you build a park or a trail on your property and it's only serving your property. We give you 100% credit because we see the benefit of getting that park built. We've been told that we're okay to do that, but number one, we probably need, so this is a conversation we need not only with the development community, but with the county. So credits. We know credits are a big hot topic with the development community, starting with land acquisition. In the past, we have been paying cash for land. That puts a strain on our cash flow. We used to have a nice SDC reserve. You may be aware we have recently purchased quite an amount of land in North Bethany. We are gearing up to spend some money or SDC credits in South Cooper Mountain. So what we're hoping to do is return to giving credits for land. As has been our requirements when we purchase property, whether, and let me actually add, it's our preference to give credits for land. I'm guessing that the development community might prefer cash. If that's the case, I am going to need your help explaining this to our board on how we can do this and why it's sensible for both parties. So what we'll require anytime we purchase property is the appraisal and appraisal review. We've got 250,000 stakeholders that we have to prove that we're spending our money wisely. And then what we want to do to try and smooth this process, anybody who's been involved in North Bethany knows it's been a little contentious at times. We want to start the appraisal process as soon as we have a legal description, not waiting until there's a final plat. We also would like to enter into purchase and sale agreements with a set price and not have this burdensome, we get an appraisal review, you don't agree, you get your appraisal. Now we've got 3 appraisals out there and we have to figure out what the price is. How can we avoid that? Looking for your input. And of course, we will have to do our environmental due diligence, but with some of this new development, we know you're doing due diligence. Can you share that with us? And we can help move the process along more quickly. So improvements, assuming we can still go forward giving improvements if you construct the park or the trails, our preference is to issue waivers. So rather than have you go down to the county, pay your fee, and then we turn around and reimburse you and the county charges us, I forget if it's like 2%, somewhere in that. So we'd rather just give you the waiver so you don't even have to pay them. If we end up doing reimbursements, we do deduct and we will continue to deduct the fee charged by the jurisdiction. Another thing we've heard, especially through the Home Builders Association, that the credit amount, developers can oftentimes build the improvements cheaper than we can because of our contracting laws. So what we're proposing for the credit amount, not using what's in our methodology because it may cost you more, it may cost you less, but we would get a third party to cost out the improvements as if the district were constructing them. We would then give you the credit in that amount. If you get it done cheaper, great. Now we will deduct that cost from the SDC credits. I've asked our design and development, they estimate that cost is $5,000 to $10,000. So that's less than what the SDC fee for one single family home. When we give credits for improvements, we currently require, and we will be enforcing this, we need a memorandum of understanding before you start any work, and that is our how-to, how we're going to work together. We are also going to develop a checklist. This is going to really distill that MOU down to one page, hopefully, that these are the things that need to be done so that you are eligible to get your credits. We also want to make sure we're having regular check-ins between our project managers and your project managers so that we're not missing anything. We want to help you make sure you get the full credits and also that we're getting the improvements that we've entered into the contract for. So this MOU, the minimum terms are going to be a project schedule. When are things going to be built? When do we need to be out for inspections? This is the next bullet point's a big one, the process for reviewing plans. We want to be able to review and approve at 4 points. If we don't get this, you're at risk of forfeiture, which is our next slide. It's very important, again, we need to make sure things are built to our standard. And why I'm stressing this is when our maintenance crew takes over, they need to know what they're getting. A lot of the stuff is in the ground when you think of irrigation, so we can't see it. We work with everybody in our district when we review plans. It's not just design and development. And then we also need to approve costs. This might be less of an issue if we go the method of having that third-party cost estimate, but how many times does a project run into unforeseen, so you have contingencies? We'll have a method of how we can approve overages. And if things cost less, you get that benefit. So potential forfeiture, I've alluded to this. It's in, again, the current APGs, but I want to stress, if we don't have the chance to review and approve plans and you construct something, especially if we haven't had the chance to inspect, you're likely not going to get credits. If improvements are not built to our plans or specification, you could risk forfeiture. What we've done in the past is we have the option not to accept the improvements. We can require the improvements to be reconstructed with the additional cost borne by the developer. Or what we've done, for instance, there was a case once when a trail was supposed to be 10 feet with a ramp and it was built to 8 feet with stairs making a connection. We accepted the improvement, but we did not give credits. Something new that we want to do is make sure that our administrator, who's our general manager, likely be me in design and development assisting him, he'll have the decision-making authority to grant some flexibility. We will maintain the ability to appeal decisions to the board. So again, how do we work better together? And these are ideas we're thinking of, and this is where the conversation really, we want to get it started. We'll have those project schedules and checklists. Third-party project manager is something we thought of. Our board members have cautioned us on this. What that would be is, again, we've got our experts, you have yours, making sure this third-party project manager would be the one making sure things are staying on schedule, that inspections are done. There is a cost, which we would deduct from SDCs, so on advice of our board, this would probably be a backup, that we wouldn't go this route unless we were having so many problems in a project that we needed that third-party expertise. A great idea we've heard from one developer is extended warranties. We were told that, especially with something like irrigation, our inspection process is overburdensome. If they could just warranty, instead of say for 3 years, give us a 10-year warranty and forego some of those inspections. We are open to such ideas and others. And I see Andy is standing up, so our next steps. Sometime in May, because I'm in the process of drafting these guidelines, we'd like to have a meeting, sign-up sheet again. In June, and I'm thinking the timing could vary depending on whether you want to have a copy of the draft in hand. So if that's the case, it'll be more end May, beginning June. June 20, we'll introduce these guidelines to the board. Then we don't have a meeting in July, so we'll spend June and July continuing to work with the development community to improve and edit the guidelines. And then in August, it's our intention to present for the final guidelines for adoption. This is a tentative schedule. If we're having a good conversation, making progress, but we have 1 or 2 issues we need to work out, we may be able to delay, but I'm staff, so don't hold me to that. But we're committed to making this an open process. Questions?
Question? Go ahead, Matt.
Moderator?
Are these updates going to preserve the ability to just sell land and you guys continue to construct the improvements on that land?
Absolutely.
Just a comment, your intervals were so important about, the first one was land use approval. it strikes me that there's an opportunity to be more active in the pre-application level of having a handout or something that establishes all of that stuff you were saying in maybe a one-page form that's provided at the pre-app meeting so that people actually have that information as early as possible. Right now, there's not a lot of information that's given at a pre-app meeting at the county, but there's an opportunity for you, especially on properties that have park opportunities or already have the master plan designations, to be getting that information out in a simple handout, because that's a pretty structured process, and if they get that information, you're likely to see them more positively contributing.
Thank you very much, I like that.
Good comment. All right, anything else?
I know that the board had considered, or started to consider FCC waivers for affordable housing projects. Is that something that the board is still considering to think about, or is that something that's part of this process at all?
We are having conversations with the affordable housing development community with Washington County and the city of Beaverton. Unfortunately, this did not come up before our methodology update. Legally, we cannot give waivers unless we backfill. And finding the money to backfill, if we do that, we take away either from the maintenance. So it doesn't look possible. We are looking for other creative solutions where there's half-street improvements for our park development. Can we work with a jurisdiction that we don't have to do those half-street improvements, which then frees up some money for us to give waivers? City of Beaverton, we're having conversations where they own land. Can they transfer that land to us? So we're trying to be part of that solution. It's just a legal quagmire, unfortunately.
Thank you.
Okay, great, thank you, Jeannine.